Right, Tropel Jizzo back again, asking you to please subscribe to this channel, J Pearl TV, because
the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
I need a young priest and an old priest. Let's go. So I saw this in one of my most recent Instagram feeds. Jizzo, please come to Serbia. You've got fans there. Huh. Well, at least I know I've got one fan there in Serbia. There's one guy in Serbia that digs the love-hate music. And you know what? That's cool. I love that, man. When people love the music, I love it. But does that mean I can jump in a van with 3 other guys and drive halfway across Europe to play a gig in Serbia? Probably not, if truth be told. My wife constantly warns me to tread carefully when it comes to saying stuff like this on YouTube. Don't ruin people's vibe with those uncomfortable, cold, hard facts, Jizzo. People dig your music, they're praising it, and they're praising you. And I get that, and I do appreciate it. I want you to know, it does warm my cold black heart. Here's another post. Come to Missoula, Montana, Jizzo. Missoula? I went there once on one of those Rock Never Stops tours when I sang for Rat, long time ago. And I seem to remember that that place was really far, almost as far as Serbia, metaphorically speaking. And again, I do appreciate the love, I really do. But the truth is, I'll probably never be able to bring my love-hate band all the way north to Missoula. It's just too far off the beaten track, bro. Every time I post tour dates on the internet, I always hear the same thing. Why do you only play the UK, man? I don't only play in the UK. I do play other places, but yeah, as far as touring goes, I tend to stick to the UK. And you know why? Because it's doable. The drives are relatively short and the fans are loyal. In other words, it makes sense. In fact, my last tour in March of 2025 was probably the best tour I've ever done. Sold out shows every night. So, going to Missoula, beautiful place, nice people, but you know what? As a traveling musician that's been doing this for the last 35 years, truthfully, it's probably not gonna happen. I mean, is that harsh? Just being totally honest, keeping it real, as they say. Nuggets of truth from your old pal Jizzo. Which brings me to Facebook, the place where people don't keep it real. The women who don't look like real women. The so-called beauty apps that make women look like their faces are melting off. And featuring a host of so-called working musicians that puff themselves up on every post trying to justify their fickle business model that they call a rock band. They tell you they go to Missoula in a heartbeat. See you there, dude. You see, Facebook delivers the impossible and dares you to challenge it. 2026 tours appear and then just as quietly disappear. Band members come and then they go, replacing the old members. Blame the promoter when the tour is canceled. Blame climate change. Blame Jizzo. It's all the same. It's always someone else's fault. Here's another bunch of nonsense. I've heard this for years. That's not love-hate. My band, love-hate. That's not love-hate. Those guys are scabs. Scabs? Robbie Crane is a scab? Kerry Kelly, is he a scab too? You know, he owns 3 restaurants in Las Vegas. He's doing pretty good for a scab. What about my drummer, Dave Moreno? Is he a scab? He plays for Bruce Dickinson. Pretty scabby if you ask me. What about my UK band? Are they scabs? Maybe so, I guess. A delicate, more genteel scab, perhaps. The word scab, if you don't know, is a pejorative term for someone who is not the original guy playing in the band or someone who is just a subpar musician. Or both. I'm not Kevin Dubrow, you see, so that makes me a scab, I guess. But if we're talking about scabs now, in a scab-filled world and all things being scabbily equal as they are, doesn't that mean that you're playing with scabs now too? What you've been accusing me of for years? Scab Love Hate Mark II? Or how about Timu Love Hate, the $2 version? Does that sound better? What's good for the goose being good for the gander? Are your scabs less scabby than mine? Mine are pretty hard scabs, pretty firm, like beef jerky. Your scabs seem a little fresh, a little wet behind the ears, still bleeding a little. Pretty much every famous band that still plays in 2026 is comprised of members that were not part of the original lineup. That's a fact. Some of the original guys have retired, and a lot of them have just died. So the definition of an all-original band, all four guys intact, that seems to be getting thinner and thinner. So I hear that someone is announcing a 2026 tour. Oh, well, I hope it works out, man. As for me, I would be slightly tentative about launching a US tour right now, but maybe that's just because I've been doing the love-hate touring thing by myself for the last 19 years, by myself, and I know how fucking hard it is out there to work. I've never stopped doing love-hate, actually, in fact. You gotta think about the logistics. How much is the van gonna cost per week? Are you bringing your own gear? If you are, then that complicates things. You see, now you gotta pull a trailer and that costs more money. Who's gonna drive? Or who's gonna not drunk drive, I should say? Then you gotta pay your guys' salaries. Hopefully they're somewhat hip to the ups and downs of the business because, as I said, it's really tough out there. It was even tough when I toured with LA Guns back in 2010. Long-ass drives, sleeping two to a room with a snoring Chad Stewart. Wow, that was really tough. Cancellations along the way, promoters wanting reductions. One giant part of our European tour in 2011 just collapsed. We had to stay in a youth hostel in Slovenia for a week. The Steve Riley version, LA Guns, one time got marooned in Australia and had to do door deals to work up the money to get back home. Shit happens on the road. It happens all the time. I've had my own share of mishaps touring, the bad and the really bad. Come to Italy, Jizzo. That's a post that I see quite often. Yeah, I tried that in 2019 and got ghosted by the Italian promoter. Lost thousands of euros. Oh well, shit happens. You see, all these things will be new to you. The long-ass drives that would exhaust a 20-year-old, but you're not 20. Oh no, you're in your late 60s now. You and the band will be like pioneers from the 1800s crossing the Great Plains in covered wagons. It'll be a fucking adventure, man, until it isn't. I know what I'm talking about because I've done it. Been doing it, never stopped doing it. I know how hard it is out there, but you see, I made a different stuff. I'm a fucking gladiator. I've been doing it for years. For you, every day will be a wonderful new surprise, like the first cancellation. The band only sold 14 tickets. Or the first reduction. We're cutting your fee and your rooms in half. Take it or leave it, man. I've had successful tours where I made a decent profit, and I've had tours where I made no money. I literally had to pay the band out of my own pocket. All touring bands will tell you the same horror stories. Anyone who's done this forever like I have would be well acquainted with the ups and downs of it. Good gigs and bad gigs, good promoters and crooks. But you see, you've never done any of it. You've never had to juggle the band's money, making a budget, crunching the numbers, driving all day until you're exhausted. You've never been your own tour manager, man. The guy that deals with all the daily f***ups, the guy responsible for everything that goes wrong. All that fun band leader shit. And all those small clubs and all those promoters, they may really love our band's records. They may remember our band with total fondness. But if you don't sell tickets and put bodies in the club, guess what? You're just a fucking loser. And also, this is a big thing. This is when personality comes into play. You can't be an asshole to people. You've got no power out there when the chips are down. Zero leverage against some club owner who would rather cancel your gig than make an even bigger loss. Now I know what you're thinking. You, man, I'll sue you. Now you've increased your asshole quotient. Now you're the Sith Lord of assholes. Now no one will book you. That promoter's a dick, man. That place. As you do the walk of shame out of his club, now you gotta pay for your own hotels that night out of your own pocket and shoulder the loss of that night's show. Whatever budget you thought you had is now kind of totally blow up at promoters a few times, and then no one will want to book you. You will earn that fucking phrase we call having a bad attitude, like an asteroid striking the earth, leaving miles of scorched earth in its wake. Kaboom! Am I painting sort of a grim picture? Yeah, I guess I am. But you know what? It's real. People ask me all the time why I don't tour Love Hate in the States. There are a myriad of reasons, some of which I mentioned, But in the end, you know why? The reason I don't need to prove myself to anyone that I'm a real rock and roller. I've done my 7-hour van drives every day, done the bad bar food, suffered with the inconsistent attendance or even zero attendance. That. Life's too short. Or, conversely, I could fly into a plush multi-million-dollar Indian casino with Quiet Riot, be given the free restaurant vouchers, lodgings on site, play an awesome theater or amphitheater to hundreds or even thousands of people. That sounds better. On the other hand, I can keep that original band credibility people talk so much about and quite possibly play to 30 people on a Saturday night. Yeah, they dig you. They even have your blackout record for them to sign, and they're real fans, real love-hate fans. There's just not enough of them. You wanted me to come to Missoula? Well, I did it, bro. I'm here. I drove all the way up here, and there's nobody here. What the f***? Where's all the people? Why didn't the club do any advertising? Where's the radio? Radio? Is there even radio? You see, I deal in reality, and some people understand that and dig my honesty, and some people want to live in the fantasy world of Facebook like we're owed a career. I love all the fans. I love all the fans that love my music and the love-hate legacy. It's killer. But you know what? That lineup broke up in 1997. I tried a few reunions along the way, and guess what? Boom! Chernobyl! A giant nuclear explosion of hate. No love, just hate. A lot of yelling, a lot of low blows. I've never stopped playing this music. I gotta tell you, on stages, large and small, I've never stopped playing this music. I've never stopped being love-hate. And I've never stopped anyone else from playing this music. It's not my fault that people quit or retired. That's why I call myself the real thing, because the real thing isn't some impulsive Don Quixote-like quest. It takes years of working hard to keep the fans coming back and paying to see you. It takes work, man, not a bunch of idle boasting on Facebook. That's right, I said it, and I will keep on saying it, and I'll keep on doing love-hate. Sometimes just a few shows a year and sometimes more shows, but you know what? Always consistent. You always know what you're getting from your scabby old pal Jizzo. I mean the original guy. I mean Jizzo. Well, it's your old pal Jizzo. Anyway, rockin' and rollin', and we'll see you next time.